The other question that we'll sometimes get is how often should you forecast cash? And I think that first and foremost depends probably more than anything on your process and automation. So the clients that use like the Helms or the dry runs, which are great local options, and there's a plug and play with their accounting system. I mean, they legitimately have a reasonable cash forecast daily without any actual effort. And then oftentimes I know that the CFOs will look at those forecasts on a weekly basis to get it the next level of detail and just that much more specific. I know that when I was a CFO, we absolutely forecasted cash daily because there was a lot of manual effort that we had to put into the forecast, but it was easier to spend 5 minutes a day doing the manual updates and then having a forecast that was accurate and detailed daily than to spend, an hour or two on a weekly basis, because the total time took longer if you touched it only weekly, because you had to get your head back into it and get into the routine. So the controller always did it daily. And even when we weren't in a cash flow challenging issue and we weren't funding any particular growth, and I would tell him like, hey, buddy, you don't have to do this daily. He just said, it's 5 minutes a day or it's 2 hours a week. Which one should it be? So it really, I think it depends how often you should be forecasting cash. Obviously, how challenging your cash flow situation is and the types of questions and growth that are going to be pushed by your executives so that you have that at the tip of your fingers if you need it. I think those are the types of things that would drive it along with the process and technology you're using. But other people would suggest that your forecasting of cash should specifically be every 13 weeks and updated every week. I've heard that from some of our competitors. And I think it's similar, that there's no exact right answer. But what are your thoughts and what have you seen successful?
I mean, it depends on what your financial situation is, right? If you're struggling to pay your bills, I would probably suggest getting on top of a weekly to daily forecast, because every charge that hits your bank account is something you may not be able to pay for someone else. And, you run the liability. I remember when in my previous life, we had effectively only one vendor that could shut us down tomorrow if we didn't pay them on time, which was the shipping companies who were distributing inventory and things like that. And we knew, one, we couldn't get inventory in without the shippers, and we couldn't get inventory out. So, they were a priority cash flow line item. And that's, we had to do that sometimes daily. And then we moved to weekly once we kind of at least moved out of the burning fire into just a slow burning fire. So, but if you're a company that has tons of cash in the bank, and I would probably, I sometimes you may not even want to do a forecast. Why? If your business isn't changing, it's just a bunch of work you're doing to what? Make yourself feel like you're going to be richer than you already are. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's worth it. Now, if your business is planning and you're making business decisions for growth, absolutely. Do the work there, put in the forecasting, or you're going out for new financing or whatever, sure, you need to do that forecast. But, I think the circumstances and, again, where you are in your business cycle should dictate what the right course is.